Today we're gonna camp at Grey Rock Mountain. I'm hammock camping for the night and there's no fires allowed in the area right now. It's just too dry. So I'm gonna have to entirely rely on my gear and layering to stay warm. The temperatures are dropping into the mid-20s and it's a little bit windy right now. I'm not quite sure what it's gonna be at elevation. My goal for this trip is to show how enjoyable cold weather camping can be. I'm very excited and definitely looking forward to it. I just started out and it's already incredibly windy, so it's going to be very important for me to find some shelter within the trees tonight. I think that there's enough trees for me to be able to find some shelter against the wind in my hammock, and I think I have enough layers. Hopefully I can stay warm enough tonight. That would be amazing. The pack that I'm using is the Ohm 2.0. I think it's perfect for backpacking like this. I have it packed to the gills with a bunch of different layers and stuff for me to keep warm. I'm a little bit bummed that I can't have a fire out here, but as you can see, there's just so much dead stuff that's so dry, so it wouldn't take much for a spark to cause a big fire out here. Unfortunately, out here in the west, until we get some actual snow coverage on the ground, I don't think I'll be able to have a fire until then, or until they lift the restrictions. As I'm heading up, it's important to pace myself so that I can stay comfortable in the cold. I've layered up with a base layer and this mid layer so that I don't sweat too much. When hiking and camping in the fall, it's important that you keep a steady pace so that you avoid sweating and working too much. Damp clothes can really chill you down fast when you stop, so it's my goal to minimize as much sweat as I can. I think that we just have a little bit of elevation to go before we can establish camp. It's getting pretty dark, still have about a mile of uphill to go, and then I'm really hoping that it just flattens out and there's a bunch of trees. That's what it said from the satellite imagery. I'm not sure, but it looks like there's a lot of burned down trees. There's some good trees, but a lot of burned down trees from the fire that was here a few years ago. Just up, one rock at a time. The wind is picking back up again as well. Whew. Well, we finally made it up top. It's a little bit flatter, but as you can see, this is a big burned area. So I'm gonna have to walk a little bit further in order to find a couple good trees where I could set up. I see that there are some maybe potential good trees here, this little low-lying flat area. That would be good because it would shelter me from the wind a little bit. But I think I'm gonna continue on to go a little bit further, but I know that I can potentially fall back here if I need to. I think this is it. I'm gonna stop here for the night. I'm gonna set up between these two trees. I can set up my hammock in between, put my stuff here on the ground. It's a little bit bushy here, but I'd rather set up here than keep walking in the dark. So I think I'm gonna get comfy here. The wind is definitely coming straight through here, so it's gonna be very important for me to get my tarp up if I'm gonna conserve all my warmth. It's a little bit of a funnel type situation here because the wind's going through the canyon. I do have an advantage of being tucked away under some brushes, so that's definitely gonna help a little bit. All right, let's get set up. I think I'll set the hammock up first, throw all my down in there, and then I will get my tarp up. If it was raining or something like that, I would want to do the opposite. I would get my tarp up first so that I wouldn't get all my other stuff wet. Today I'm utilizing the whoopee slings. Whoopee slings are super nice because they are nice and lightweight. Now that I've slowed down, I'm definitely feeling the cold creep in. This wind is not helping. As soon as I get this all set up, I think I'm gonna crawl in and get warm. There we go. Whoopee hooks on. Beautiful. Got a nice setup. what I had to do is I had to adjust the whoopee length because this tree to my right was a little too thin, so I had to double it up, but I still made it work. And this one was fine, I just had to raise it a little bit higher. But now I think we have a perfect and comfortable hang. It's a little chilly, I have the wind blowing towards my back right now. It's gonna be important for me to get the tarp set up. I think I'm gonna put the down in now, so that's a little bit easier to get to. Other than that, we are good to go. Tonight I'll be using my 30-degree underquilt. This is by Hammock gear. This is a necessity if you're going to be doing winter and fall hammock camping. This will protect you from losing heat from the bottom. And I'm also using this top quilt. This is a 20-degree overquilt. It has 2 extra ounces of overstuff, so it can take me down into the 20s, well below the 20s, possibly even the teens. With the wind, it might be challenging to stay warm, but we'll see how it does tonight. So the important thing is to tuck that in there and then tighten down everything so it doesn't go anywhere. People often make the mistake of not tightening these channels down. If you don't, the cold air will get in. You want to make sure that this whole quilt is up and tight against you, sealing away that warm air that you create as a barrier. Make sure that's nice and tight. Oh, shit. Well, I got camp set up. This is quite the windiest camp that I've ever set up before. I'm gonna get everything together, get all my stuff together. I'm gonna crawl in here. I don't feel comfortable cooking right now because it's so windy. I might later. I'll probably have to wait till morning, but it's not smart to cook with an alcohol stove when it's this windy. Any amount of wind can just set this whole thing ablaze if it gets out of control. So I only have a little bit of water. It's a very dry area up here. Set all this stuff over here. The one thing that I will have though is this protein bar from Barbells. I just don't feel comfortable cooking right here because there's just too much dead brush all around here. So I'll probably have to wait, go somewhere tomorrow morning and cook away from this camp, and then I can enjoy that. But this will have to do for tonight. Oh. I'm starting to get pretty cold. I think I'm gonna crawl in. Let's get some of this water. Despite the wind, it's really peaceful up here. With just me, the trees, and the quiet night. Just about ready to turn in for the night. Feels super warm in here. I'm tucked into all my layers. I'm just so thankful that I'm able to make it out here. I've been so busy with the move from California to Colorado and getting out here that this year I haven't made a lot of time for getting out in nature as much as I would like to. But I'm really glad and full of gratitude that I get to come out to beautiful places like this and enjoy the nature. I think it does so much for your mental health, and certainly does for me. I haven't done cold weather camping like this in a very long time, and it's definitely a skill that you want to practice if you plan on doing it, because if you just go with no preparation, it could end very badly for you. Just about ready to turn in for the night. I got my warmest layers on. I'm tucked in, ready to get a good night's sleep and wake up early in the morning. It's about 1 in the morning and it just sounds like there's freight trains going over my tarp and hammock setup. All the wind is coming off of the mountain. And it's rattling everything. I tied everything down as much as I can. Going through the trees, and then it slams into the side of my tarp. It's been going like this for hours. It's all for the adventure, isn't it? Well, good morning. I didn't really sleep that well last night because it was very windy, very cold. I was pretty warm in combination with all my layers and my top and down quilts. It's really cold out here this morning. I think I'm going to get packed up and get headed down the trail so I'm not surrounded by this area that is full of this fire load fuel. It's just everywhere. But despite this place being a burn scar, it's also really pretty. You wouldn't think this place would be really windy, but it is, and all the wind just kind of swirls around you. I thought I would be safe tucked in this little cove here, but I was just being slammed with wind. It felt like a freight train. It would just go just all night, and I would like fall asleep for a little bit, and you'd think it'd be quiet. I would hear like the owls hooting, and then all of a sudden just the wind comes out of nowhere and just slams into my tarp. So that wasn't fun, but waking up to this is definitely fun and worth it. This is what kept me warm last night on the bottom. This is my 30-degree underquilt by Hammock Gear. Has an extra 2 ounces of overstuff of goose down. And this was an absolute necessity because the wind would just come right under and hit this. Luckily it was thick enough to where I didn't really feel the chill. So thank you, Hammock Gear. This is a really great piece of gear. Highly recommend it. This is part 2 of what was responsible for keeping me warm last night. This is my 20-degree Hammock Gear burrow with an extra 2 ounces of overstuff. Very warm, lots of goose down. I was really thankful to have this in my kit last night. Super necessary for deep winter and deep fall camping. Something like this is super necessary to stay warm when you're hammock camping and it's that windy. My goodness, I have never experienced wind like that. I'm just glad that none of the trees here decided to snap. With cold weather camping, you can't really avoid the cold hands. I have a glove, but it makes it hard to do all the fine dexterity stuff that you need to do, especially when you're untying knots. I guess the important thing is you get some hand warmers, put your hands in your pockets. Deep winter and fall camping just take a little bit more time. You have to warm up your hands and have to be able to have that dexterity in order to pack up and do the things that you need to do. Yeah, that wind was absolutely crazy last night. It's dead silent now. Crazy. All right, let's get moving. Get the blood flowing. It's so cold outside. This trip has been a great reminder of how great winter and fall camping can be. With the right preparation and layers, you can enjoy the peace and stillness that only this kind of camping can bring. One thing's for sure, going down is a lot easier than coming up. This elevation I'm at is at 6,500 feet. I only did about a mile in total going up, but you definitely feel it. It makes a huge difference. This looks like a nice place to take a little water break. Once you get moving, you definitely start to warm up. It's just so strange. There's no wind, hardly any breeze at all. And last night there was all this wind and breeze. There's like a freight train smashing into me. I guess it was sort of like nature's way. Oh, you want to go test your cold gear and cold weather skills? Cool, let me make sure that I slam into your tarp all night so you can barely get any sleep. What's the coldest weather that you've been camping in? Let me know down in the comments below and I'll engage with you there. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps me out a lot. You should check out this next video over here, where I go cold weather camping deep in the mountains of Ojai, California. I'll see you over there.